Huples cat. How do I know my well water hasn't got arsenic in it and is slowly killing me? Well, there's a few ways of figuring that one out. I use a Berkey for all my drinking water. I've used one for over a decade now. It's not working great up here for various reasons. I'm working on it. It works. So my water goes through the black filters. But you'll notice I have two white ones there. Gets rid of fluoride and arsenic. It also gets rid of a whole bunch of other things as well. These are pretty pricey. They go underneath the container, the black ones, and they actually last about a year, year and a half, whereas the black ones last about a decade. So this is a pricey addition. Let's find out whether I need this or not. With moving into rural Ontario, I'm on well water. There is no mains of anything here. And I was curious, is the water that safe? So I actually took advantage of free testing for E. coli and for chloroforms. And I'm informed I have none in my well water, which is good news. So I'm not going to catch dysentery that way. But what about arsenic, I thought? So I went online and I found a whole bunch of home testing kits, several of which I bought. But it was really, really hard to find any that test arsenic. This is an indirect arsenic assay test that I've done at home. I did a couple of days ago, and now I know for sure if my well water has arsenic in it or not. So I'm going to repeat the test. You should always repeat these tests if you can, but bottoms up. So what's in the box? An instruction sheet. At first glance, this is going to scare you, but I have a background in chemistry, so it didn't really scare me. The instructions are pretty straightforward. Before you do any of this stuff, get everything out of the box, make sure you have it, figure out how you're going to do this, where you're going to do it, and what steps you're going to do. Once you start the process, you have about 12 minutes to finish it, and it's time critical. It tells you how to get best accuracy. Again, a lot of information there. You need to read it, it is important. If you wish to, you can test your own soil and you can test your own wood. However, for me here, all of the water comes from the sky and forms into lakes and then runs underground, and then I tap it with my well. So if my well water is clear, pretty much sure my soil and my wood is clear as well. But this is something you might want to take on board if your water is contaminated. Is your soil contaminated? Is the wood you're burning in the house contaminated from the property? Think about that. And it tells you how to do the procedure for each of the two different types. You get safety information about the 3 reagents and about the strips. I actually read this stuff. It's kind of interesting. You don't need to. And he sends you a letter telling you about what he did and how he did it, and it tells you the different types of kits that are available. There is a plastic bottle. It's graduated with a bunch of graduations. The bottom line is here that there's a 100 ml graduation, and that's what you're going to put it to. A yellow cap that you're going to use straight away, and a white cap that you're going to use later on. The white cap should be put into this position because that's how it's going to go on the bottle, and this is time sensitive. This is a testing strip. You might be familiar with pH, same thing. It's parts per billion of lead. 0 is what you want to see. 5 you can live with. 10 you could possibly live with, but you might want to consider drinking water. If you get 20 or above, you've got an arsenic problem and you're slowly poisoning yourself. Now, if I have arsenic contamination with a testing kit like this, I'm going to repeat it. And if it says, yes, you've got 10 to or above parts per billion of arsenic in your water, I would actually stop drinking and showering and bathing with that water and cooking with it and start to buy in bottled water. But at the same time, I would repeat the test. And if the test came back negative, at that point I would consider repeating for a 3rd time. There are 5 tests in each kit. Or I might, in fact, just take the water and pay a lot of money and have it accurately tested by an actual lab that will directly measure the arsenic concentration. This is an indirect method of arsenic concentration testing, and it's actually fairly accurate from what I can tell, providing you follow the instructions to the letter. So you want to add water, 100 ml of water to the bottle. After 8 months, we now have hot water. It's not the greatest. It takes a while to warm up. It's not as hot as it should be, and it's using about twice the power we've been using, which we kind of expected, but it's a bit of a shock. So I have to run it for a while to actually get hot water, which isn't great. Now you can measure with a thermometer, but basically where I'm going is here. So that's not too hot, and it's not too cold. Number 1 is L-tartric acid. It's safe, it's food grade, you don't have to worry about it. So I have my water between 18 and 22 centigrade. If you're American, you have to figure out what it is. Got my L-tartric acid and I put it in. Again, avoid inhaling stuff like this, but this is actually food grade and you should be fine, but keep it away from your mouth. Nose. Cap it immediately and then shake vigorously. Now this is vigorous shaking for a chemical reagent. You can do this if you are really confident there'll be no spillage. But basically, this will do it. And after 15 seconds, stop. Number 2 is not marked number 2, it's marked MPS. It's about 3 or 4 different types of potassium compound with magnesium carbonate. Not dangerous particularly, but you don't want to inhale the dust. You then have the second reagent. This is the potassium compounds with the magnesium carbonate. Again, the major issue with this is dust, so you put it in. You notice the water goes nice urine coloured, and shake vigorously for 15 seconds. Upright. Like I said, I would actually always shake reagents like this upright. If you want to wear gloves, it's a good idea. Number 3 is not marked number 3, but is marked zinc. Zinc again is not dangerous unless you inhale it. Don't inhale it. Having done this test once already, you really can't inhale this stuff unless you really try hard to. Don't try hard to. Zinc you might have to dispose of in a different way depending on where you live. The tiny amounts of zinc here I'm not going to be fussed about. It's going to go into my septic system. Now you'll feel this is getting warmer than the original water. There's chemical reactions happening. This gets put aside for exactly 2 minutes. Not a minute and a half, not 2.5 minutes, for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes resting in the bottle upright, I'm going to actually add in the zinc. And then I'm going to shake that vigorously upright for 5 seconds. I will then immediately remove the yellow cap and place the white cap on and put the reagent strip into the cap. Strongly advise having a proper stopwatch. It's actually a good idea if there's 2 people doing this as well. There we go. Now you really don't want to inhale zinc, so don't talk or breathe. Five seconds. At the end of the 5 seconds, stop, don't talk, change the cap and put the reagent strip in. The reagent strip's a mercuric bromide. You don't want to touch the reagent strip because you don't want to get bromide through your skin. At the same time, it would ruin the test. These I Ziploc bag and it goes to the municipality where it ends up in landfill, and it's quite a visceral experience which I'm going to video one day for you guys. There's 5 of these in the test kit, and the first one that came was actually on its own, and you'll notice there is kind of a perforation. I don't want to really perforate it because I'm worried that I will actually open up 2 of them. I don't want to do that. There is a little tag here, so I'm going to strip it down. So when you take this out, take it out from the middle. The reagent strip will have a pad at one end and you don't want to touch it. So you take it out from the middle and you'll immediately notice 2 things. One you'll notice straight off is the red line. The other one is the reagent pad. Do not touch the reagent pad. It's got mercury in it, but at the same time it might invalidate the test. Taking the bottle with the cap on it, and this is going to be done very quickly because it's time sensitive, the red line goes up and goes into the cap. It goes to the back of the bottle. This is the front of the bottle. The red line is at the back. And you basically put this down. It's actually on level with the top of the container. And then you do this. This will produce a lot of hydrogen, which is why you don't want to smoke, you don't want to have it indoors, you don't want to have it near any naked flame or electrical system. Indirectly, the arsenic, if it's present in the water, soil or wood, will actually become a gas form of arsenic and will react with the reagent strip. It's the reagent strip that's going to tell you whether there's arsenic in concentration in the water. It's not a direct assay of arsenic in the water, but it's a pretty good indirect method of assessing it. When you open the bottle, this will not drop down. When you pull this out, don't worry too much, the liquids aren't going to really hurt you, but you want to measure it immediately on the reagent strip. And what you really want to see is 0. If you see in 5, I'd retest and I'd be concerned. If you see in 10, be concerned. Now you can see that any sort of yellowing on this pad is going to be pretty obvious, and basically any obvious yellow means there's arsenic in the water. At that point, I would not drink or bathe or cook in the water I had, and I would buy it in. And I would test it again using this strip, and if it came back negative, I'd probably continue that process and I'd probably have it tested professionally. If it came back positive for arsenic again, I absolutely would have it tested, and I would probably consider relocation. It's not something you can mess around with. Arsenic can cause major problems. Red line goes to the back. So you can still see the red line, and then you click it down. So you can actually see the red line above the cap. In 10 minutes, I'm ready to read this. You can see it's bubbling. It's hydrogen gas. If there's arsenic in my water, some of this arsenic gas. Don't want to have this in the house. I'm going to put it outside. 5 minutes to go and I will know if I need to use my white Berkey filters anymore or not. It was a rainy day. It's going to be 2 minutes, so let's get the container. You've got a maximum of 2 minutes to do this. Pop it off, pull it out. Oh my god, it fell in. Okay, do not do this with one hand, do it with both hands. I was doing the filming, I was doing the camera, so I have the stick fell in. I'm going to retrieve it and look at it anyway. Testing strip, like pH, you want 0 or 5, preferably 0. If you see 10, get it tested again using this method and then have it properly tested. If you see 20 or more, absolutely get it properly tested. Stop drinking, stop bathing, stop cooking, stop having that water inside you or touching your skin. And you want to assess it under natural light. Preferably with this the right way around. I'm replicating the test I got earlier and yeah, being shown on this and I'm happy with it. I really didn't expect the reagent strip to drop in. It was very stable last time. That reagent strip I put in 3 or 4 times for the filming process, and then when I pulled it out I used one hand because I was filming with the camera and hadn't set the tripod up because it's time sensitive. I would invalidate that test. If I did that for real and it was showing me negative, I wouldn't go, oh yeah, I don't have arsenic. I dropped it into the liquid. I don't think it actually affected it. Now one of the things is, if you actually get a positive result, if this is yellow at all, if you leave it more than the 2 minutes, more than the 12 minutes from the start of the test, this will go grey to black. So if you're getting grey or black in this at all, along with the yellow, you've probably got an estimation of arsenic in the water and you've got a problem. You probably should get it properly tested. To clean it all out, what you do is you just run it underwater and let it flush away. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to have any of this stuff wet. If the yellow cap or the inside of the bottle is wet with liquid in it before you do the testing, it's not bone dry, you may get an invalidated test. So they say the strips and reagents last for a year and the expiry on this is the 4th, 2023. Given the importance of actually getting an accurate test, I would actually go by the expiry dates on these. I mean, 1 or 2 months either side if it's been stored right, I'd be okay with. But chemical reagent strips, you really don't want to kind of use expired ones, especially with something as important as your own health. One of the things I was concerned about was a test that would actually show positive because of sulfur in the water. We do occasionally have sulfur smells coming out of our well, and that's not unexpected in a rural location. But yeah, that seems to have dissipated since we had the well fixed a few months ago, and it seems that it doesn't have much sulfur in it because we didn't get a false positive. False positives with this test is much more likely than false negatives, and that's always a good thing. Now they do say the zinc might stick hard in the bottom. I have not had that problem. I suspect it's a chemical thing, that if you have a lot of arsenic in your water or your soil or your wood, that you might actually get the zinc sticking in the bottom. Flush it out and let it air dry. But like I said, let it really air dry. Same with the 2 caps. Mercury, Ziploc bag. My garbage is a hillside and I take my garbage there in a bag and throw it down the hillside. When they have a lot of garbage there, they dig up soil around and cover it up. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you liked it. If it's useful to you, please feel free to keep it, share it, and tell your friends and your lovers about it, and maybe they can watch it and give me a view. If you want to subscribe to my channel, feel free. If you want to leave me a comment, I'd prefer that. I'd really like comments, it's kind of cool. Did I waste my $30 buying an arsenic testing kit? I don't think so. I'm really happy I got one. I wanted to know. And to be frank with you, it's really, really expensive to have a direct measurement done of anything. I don't have feces in my water, I don't have coliforms in my water, and I don't have arsenic in my water. So I'll wait for the other testing kit to come, and I'll let you know if I have cobalt, etc. in my water. Toodles. This has been a 2022 Poison Terrier production.